So this is on air B&B football. B&B is Brandon and Bryce, Bryce and Brandon, however you want to say it. I would like to enforce that we talk football. So we talk, anything from NFL to college to fantasy football, and we'll do betting, obviously. Hopefully down the road, separate channels for that to focus more on them. So yeah, obviously, y'all can see that I'm a Chiefs fan. We're not going to talk about that for now.
Steelers fan, much
Steelers
better
fan.
franchise.
Yeah, okay.
Not lately, but
I know
overall,
everybody's sick of hearing about the Chiefs, and nobody wants to hear about the Steelers. Y'all just want to hear about football. We get that. So we're going to slow down on the Chiefs talk, but after, we get into it a little bit in the start. But just so y'all know, I know Bryce has been a Steelers fan his whole life. We've been best friends for years. We decided we like to talk football, so we wanted to make it into, I guess, a career and something fun that we can do. Just to talk about it on a daily basis, and you guys can hear our opinions. I'm a Chiefs fan because I was raised that way. My dad was a Skins fan growing up, and then he liked Joe Montana, so he followed Montana to the Chiefs and raised me as a Chiefs fan. I can tell you any bad quarterback from Tyler Thigpen, Brody Croyle, and I could go on for days. But just to prove to you, I'm not a bandwagon, and I do deserve Patrick Mahomes.
And I can vouch for that too. You've been a Chiefs fan since
since you've
known you, yeah. And we've had, when the Steelers and Chiefs play each other, we bet on it, and the loser has to wear the other team's jersey. You've worn a Pittsburgh jersey to school before. I've worn a Chiefs jersey.
Mm-hmm.
That was awful.
Sadly, yep.
Yeah. And I didn't have to wear the Chiefs jersey in public. Thank God it was a weekend, and I don't even know if we were still in school or not. But you remember you wearing the Steelers jersey all day at school, and that was a good day in my life.
Your profile picture for me on your contact photo is actually you in my Eric Berry jersey. So
no, that's great.
That's beautiful.
That so
but
much.
I don't know if there's an origin story of why you're a Steelers fan, other than the fact that you were raised that way.
Yeah, I was.
But like I said, we're in the DMV area, so it's reasonable for him to be a Steelers fan. When I tell people in this area that I'm a Chiefs fan, they're like, "Oh, bandwagon," because that's out in Missouri, and we're not close to Missouri, so
not even close.
Yeah,
but I was born an hour outside of Pittsburgh, so the whole family's Pittsburgh bans. Born that way. Besides my brother who had a brief Packers fan. As soon as they beat us in the Super Bowl, that was annoying.
Well, hey, I also had a brief love for the Eagles back when Michael Vick first came to the Eagles, just because everybody that played Madden loved Michael Vick.
That was.
But anyways, we're going to start off by just talking about, we're going to recap the Super Bowl a little bit. I know, like I said, everybody's tired of hearing the Chiefs talk.
I am.
I get it. I would be annoyed with the Patriots when that was the case. Yeah. Everybody hates a dynasty and the best quarterback of all time. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
No, but seriously, so with the Super Bowl, my take on it as a Chiefs fan, obviously there's going to be a little bit of bias in there, but I try to be as unbiased as I can.
Mm-hmm.
I personally feel like, even opposed to the Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl last year, how there was the questionable holding call, and everybody wanted to question that and question the referees and say, the referees are on the Chiefs' side. I feel like with this Super Bowl, it was actually really easy.
It was a good call.
It was very fairly called, And the only thing I've heard with this Super Bowl, the Steelers, yeah, that's not gonna be for a long time.
No, but if we get Russell Wilson, maybe it's happening.
No, but the only thing I've heard anybody complain about with the Chiefs Niners Super Bowl this time around was they said something with the clock was being adjusted, and it said that we had gotten multiple first downs in a row, which there was there was a penalty called, and the referees, the TV didn't broadcast it properly. There was even a whole video explaining it, so I don't want to hear anything from you, anything at all.
You're always,
but it was an overall very good Super Bowl. It was probably one of my favorites, other than the first one that I've seen us win in our lifetime. in my lifetime. With the Chiefs, we can't talk about the Chiefs without mentioning. We want to go ahead and get all the Chiefs stuff out of the way because, like I said, I know you guys are tired of it. But the Chiefs did re-sign Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for us, which is a great move. Obviously, y'all saw that we had one of the top defenses in the league this year, and I feel like that was a really good move for us, especially when we re-signed Chris Jones to that 5-year massive extension. Actually, just happened last night as of when we're recording this. And then we also, I believe, we re-signed Drew Tranquil and tagged L'Jarius Sneed. So as of right now, Sneed is still a Chief, but I don't see that staying that way. I feel like he will be traded in the draft or something like that.
I mean, you guys can get a big haul. You guys could get a big haul for him, but
I wouldn't mind it because we have Trent McDuffie.
But the thing is, too, there is a good chance that you guys still keep him.
There is, and I would love that just as much too. But I'm just saying, if we lose Sneed, it's not the biggest deal because we do have good backups in the secondary. Brett Veach is really good at drafting defensive backs, like possibly a future guest. We might have one in the future. But anyways, so we all saw the whole thing with the parade. Prayers goes out to the families. It's always unfortunate to see when everybody's trying to have a good time, but yeah, I was trying to go to the parade, but that is a good 15 hours away.
I mean, you hit on most of it. It was a good Super Bowl. I mean, but you could go back, like, there were some things that the 49ers definitely could have done different and stuff like that. And especially them also not knowing the coin toss rules.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was pretty crazy. Like the Chiefs came out and said we practice that stuff. We go over all that stuff. Like
literally
beginning of the year.
Yeah.
To know that. And the 49ers not knowing that was big. Which I mean,
that's a lot less on the players though, and I would say it's more on the coach. Shanahan.
Yeah. Which I mean, with Shanahan, I love him as a coach. I do. I think he's a great offensive coach.
Offensive mind, yeah.
Offensive mind, and a lot of coaches mimic his play calling and stuff like that. But with that, I do feel like he doesn't do good with taking the blame maybe for that stuff. I don't know. I'm not gonna say that exactly, but like I feel like he kind of, which I mean, what was it? Steve Wilkes, right, was the D coordinator for the Super Bowl. Which I mean, he did call some. There were some plays that he didn't.
I mean, it's Mahomes.
Yeah, no, you're right. But there was a play where he had I forget the formation, but it was just not right. And then Shanahan did call a timeout and was yelling at him for it. But I mean, other than that, but you have to know to tell your players the rules before the season and stuff like that. Which I mean, it could have gone either way. You still got to stop them either way.
Exactly, and even if you want to capitalize more on the Kyle Shanahan talk, even aside from him not teaching his players the overtime rules, what about back in 2020 when we won the Super Bowl against them then too? He had Jimmy G and Brock Purdy. I mean, you can argue at the time that they're similar skill sets. I like Brock Purdy a lot more. Don't get me wrong; he is better. But they're very similar skill sets.
I mean, that's the thing is Mahomes. They used his. They both aren't mobile quarterbacks, but I mean, they can move out of the pocket and run.
Right.
The Mahomes, they used his mobility against the 49ers. There was multiple read option plays where Bosa came down on the running back and left the edge open. Yeah. So, I mean, that's big.
Which is how we won the game, actually.
But I mean, Mahomes didn't do that all season. I mean,
Mahomes did as best as he could with MVS and Scott Moore.
But I'm saying Mahomes didn't do read option plays during the season, so there was no reason for the 49ers to think he would in the Super Bowl.
Right.
So, I mean, that's why Bosa came down on those plays.
They've been burned by him before, too.
But Mahomes did it in, I think was it overtime or the fourth quarter? Mahomes did a read option play, and they got a first down out of it. It was a fourth down, I think. But Bosa came down, but Mahomes did do that play earlier in the game. So you would think to contain that edge still.
Yeah.
But Wilkes didn't make the adjustment on that. So that was a big play there. But moving on from that, like I told you, I've talked to you before, is I said it's a weird take, but how the Chiefs weren't the best team in the NFL this year.
We definitely weren't.
The 49ers were a better team. You could say Buffalo was a better, hotter team going into the playoffs. I mean, Baltimore was a better team, definitely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't hear the end of it, especially the area we live in. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, but the thing that no other team had,
Mahomes
Mahomes is the best quarterback in
of
the
all
league,
time.
and we talked also. There's not a debate anymore about who's the best quarterback in the league.
Exactly. Love him or hate him. Love or hate the Chiefs.
And
Love or hate.
yeah, it
Swift.
sucks saying that, but there is no argument anymore. Even if Burrow or Allen wins the Super Bowl next year, it's still
There will be the people that try
yeah.
to throw them in the conversation if they
Yeah.
win this year. But the Chiefs could
It's
also
not-
go for a three-peat. They're keeping the same team together.
Yeah, it's not close anymore. It's Mahomes and everybody else.
And that's the big thing. Like you said, with the Chiefs weren't playing the best football this year. We weren't the
No.
best team by any means.
They weren't at all.
But at the same time, it's like if you can't beat Mahomes with that receiving core in what everybody thought was a down year for the Chiefs, I mean that was your best chance.
Mm-hmm.
That was absolutely the best chance. And I mean, what's stopping them from a three-peat?
Joe Burrow, baby. Just kidding. I would hate that more than watching the Chiefs
that's
win.
something we do have in common is that we both hate the Bengals. Back to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's just like he was talking about Steve Wilkes. With Steve Wilkes having to adjust. I mean, I get it. It's a Super Bowl.
It's hard to adjust
there. But
in the moment.
It is Mahomes, and they've been burned by him before, just like the Bills in the previous, not the previous game, but 2 games before that, in the divisional round, where it looked like they were playing offense against Mahomes. Like they were more focused on keeping the ball away from Mahomes than they were actually trying to score.
Oh yeah.
And that's the Mahomes factor. That's what it is. That's why. That's why you say it's Allen versus Mahomes. You don't say it's Mahomes versus the Bills defense and the Bills, Josh Allen versus.
Well, you also say that because it's a better headline.
Right. It's a better headline, but I'm just saying there's a reason for that, especially with great quarterbacks when it comes to
because it was Brady versus Manning. It was
exactly.
But I mean, like Brady versus Manning, it's
all right. But I promise future videos and the rest of this video isn't gonna be all Chiefs. It's just that we are the Super Bowl champions. So we do need to recap that. Any kind of moves made with the Chiefs or Steelers, obviously, just like any other team, is going to be recapped.
We are going to know more about our franchise. More, of course.
But we are football nerds in the same sense, So we do have a whole bunch of stuff that we need to talk about that y'all are waiting to hear.
Yeah. With that being said, let's move on to college.
Yeah, I want to hear your take on the national championship.
Yeah.
Especially with Michael Penix, JJ McCarthy, they're both 2 good prospects coming into the NFL draft, where a bunch of teams need a quarterback.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So with that, with you saying with McCarthy and Penix with the draft, I do.
Well, tell me your thoughts about the championship.
Okay,
first.
yeah,
that's what I want to know.
It was a decent game. I mean, Michigan had control of the game the entire way. Which I'm a big Penn State fan too, so that's been depressing the past few years, or for a while actually. Anyway, so back to the championship. Wanted Washington to win that, of course, and they had the opportunities to get back in the game, of course, and just Penix missed too many throws that he usually doesn't. I mean, he throws one of the best balls in college football, and I honestly think he's a better thrower than JJ McCarthy.
Absolutely,
but
McCarthy's more of a runner.
McCarthy's way better athlete, and I mean he's got a pretty good upside. But the thing with Penix though is he's been in college. I can't remember if it's 5 or 6 years now because he had the injuries at Indiana, then transferred to Washington and had two really good seasons at Washington. But this year especially, he just missed some throws in the national championship. He missed one. I think it was either a go or a wheel to a Dunze. Dunze was wide open, threw it, then just missed him. And Dunze we got a big gain or a touchdown out of it. And that's just not what he did all season. Was one of the most accurate quarterbacks and just blew it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch this year, actually, in college. But just
What do you think he's going to do in the draft? Like, I mean, because when the national championship and before that, he was being talked about as like a possibly top 10 pick. And then was it that game where he kind of I feel like it could have stock dropped.
Yeah, I mean, if they would have won and he would have had a bigger game, I think his stock would have definitely risen a little bit. I do really like the quarterbacks in this draft, but
Do you think that game made J.J. McCarthy's stock rise a little bit?
probably a little bit, yeah, because it just, I mean,
Just because it's a win, right?
national championship is a big thing to put on your resume, of course. And he'll go, I think, in the top 15. I think he's going to go to the Broncos, honestly.
Who, McCarthy?
McCarthy, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then, but the thing with Penix is you're hearing first round to third or fourth round, possibly. I mean, I think he'd probably go in the second or third. He's a good quarterback, but again, I don't know how he'll translate to the NFL, and all those injuries he had, those are going to be what coaches think about, of course. So I mean, we'll see, I guess, but yeah, it was a decent game. I mean, of course, a championship game when you're not really a fan of it. I mean, of course, you don't want Michigan to win as a Penn State fan, but as a fan of college football, you want a little bit of a better game. It wasn't too bad though. It was better than last year's Georgia versus
I was just about to say it was better than that.
I left the room when it was like 40-something-7. Came back like 10 minutes later, 60-something-7. So I was like, all right, so this was something, and that definitely showed. I mean, that's why this year I think so. With the 14 playoff, I'm so glad it's going to 12 teams. Like we'll go on to that in a little bit, but that's why they didn't let FSU win this year. That's why because they saw what happened with TCU last year, and I mean, well, Georgia beat them pretty bad in a bowl game, but they also were resting a bunch of starters. But you need your star quarterback in those moments. And they still won. They still won the ACC championship again. They still won that, but I mean that's just because they had a good defense and they were a notch above everybody else in the ACC. But yeah, that's why they got left out. And so of course my wife and her dad are FSU fans. So they of course were not happy about that. But as a football fan, I think they made a right decision. It was the right decision.
It's the right decision.
It was sad.
As much as it sucks.
And they were an undefeated team, which I was like, okay, they're undefeated. They're definitely getting in. But it was the right decision. I still would have liked to see Georgia in the playoffs this year. That's why I think the 12 team will be a lot better because Alabama did beat them, which I mean, they deserve to get into. It's just the thing with the only 4 teams is there's some teams that deserve to get in that don't get in, which really sucks. But I think the games were good. They were some good. They were good. The bowl games before the national championship were definitely good games. Alabama versus Michigan was a really good game going down to overtime. I didn't like the last play with Milroe going up the middle. I'm pretty sure he slipped anyway, but I didn't like that, especially that's Saban's last play that he's going to be.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's his last
Saban's
play.
Gone in general.
Saban's gone. That's kind of. I mean, of course not.
That's the most iconic college football.
Oh yeah,
there is.
It is. Which Alabama's another team that people don't like, and that's like the. It's kind of like the
Patriots of
college football. Yeah, seems don't like, but it's kind of sad seeing Saban gone. And then Washington's.
Do you think Saban's still going to be involved with football in some way?
No, actually, I think he's supposed to be an analyst.
I was going to say, I
think he's going to be an analyst somewhere. I think he's going
to. He'll be a good one though.
He will be. He's got a great football mind.
So him or Tom Brady as an analyst?
Him and Tom Brady are going to be analysts.
I know. What do you think is better?
I don't know.
I would say Tom Brady because he played the game.
Yeah. As
much as I can't stand him.
I can't either. I think you can definitely stand him a lot better than when he's on the field though.
You
definitely can. But the Texas Washington game, that was a good game. Washington was in control of their game most of the game. But then Texas had an opportunity at the end, which that's what you want.
Texas winning.
It was. I think I did too, but I think my prediction was Alabama versus Texas, and that didn't happen at all. So I get
right.
Yeah. So
right.
Yeah, but it was a good college football playoff this year. But I mean, you're gonna have the angry FSU fans, of course, and all that. But I'm so excited for the 12-team playoff because I mean, Penn State finally might make it in. Finally, we'll get stomped in the first round. What I want to talk about was how the bowl games now players don't players opt out of them now because they're going to the NFL. So you have these great players in college football that you don't get to be playing a bowl game.
And now they have the
and now they will because they have a chance to play for national championship, which that's big.
But then that does come along with more injury risk and everything.
It definitely does, and it's gonna.
But that's the thing of it. That's football.
Yeah, that is football, and it's gonna suck for those who do get injured and all that stuff. But the good players though, they have the NIL deals.
Yeah.
So that's always something to keep them like that they have in their back, like because good players have that. They're gonna have money now, like in college. So that's the one thing they have in the back of their pocket now, in case they do get injured, which does suck, and it's gonna hurt their draft stock probably if they are coming out that year. But with that being said, it is exciting as a college football fan, to have a 12-team playoff now and possibly have your team actually get in now, even though they're probably going to get crushed in the first round.
Like you talked about with the NIL deals, that's where it's going to start changing.
Yeah.
You're going to start seeing other kids go elsewhere and teams getting more money.
Transfer portal and all that stuff. That's all stuff to talk about later down the line.
Whole other conversation.
Yeah. But
yeah, dude, what about we got Nick Saban leaving.
Yeah, Nick Saban leaving.
Got Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, that was something.
The Joe Biden, Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, they had everybody talking about what happened to Lincoln Riley.
When we got the whole combine going on. That just happened. Draft coming up here soon.
I think it's about a month.
Yeah, sometime in April, right?
I think it's April 25th, I believe, is when it is.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like nobody's really as shocked as they would be in previous years that Xavier Worthy actually broke that 40 time.
Yeah, was it official that he broke it, or was it?
I don't know because
I've heard he hasn't, and I heard he hasn't.
Right, the second round he ran a 4.22, but then afterwards I think I saw on X that it said that he had actually broken the record. So it's a 4.21 is what I saw.
Oh shoot. Yeah, I didn't look too much into. I saw it
4.25 the first time, and then he ran a 4.22 the second time because he thought he could beat it.
Yeah.
Either way, that's still crazy. Yeah. But crazy also, if you just talk about the past guys who have actually, been one of the fastest in the 40, John Ross was the most recent one who had the other fastest time. But you go down the list, I can't even remember the guys' names right now, but not a lot of them have been successful.
You have Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson was like the only one. But that's not even recent.
That's a running back that did that. But I mean, he was one of my favorite running backs to watch ever.
Oh, he was great.
I mean, he was amazing for the. I don't think it wasn't very long, but it was maybe 5 years, maybe not even that. I don't know, but a few years. He had a 2,000-yard season.
CJ2K was
he was
everybody loved watching. He was just so fast. It was insane.
Yep.
Him and AP at the time.
That was two super fun. That was when running backs were even
make running backs great again.
Yeah, exactly. Running backs were awesome back then.
other than Xavier Worthy at the combine, I mean, obviously that's the big talk because when somebody breaks a record that's close to it, that's obviously always hyped up a lot.
Speed that you see, but there's talk of him going in the first round now, but because of that.
He's not going.
Because I don't.
If he goes in the first round, it'll be to the Chiefs at 32.
Which I don't.
I don't like as a Chiefs fan.
No,
I don't like that because, like I said, and maybe it's just like a thing in the subconscious kind of thing in the back of my head where it's like the past guys who have done that aren't that great in the NFL.
Right.
They're just speedsters, but I feel like the NFL in general, not just the Chiefs. But the NFL in general are using those smaller speedsters as, how they should have been used all along. I don't think that it's just all of a sudden they learned how to.
Yeah.
They learned that they're okay in the NFL. I feel like they just finally learned how to use them.
Well, like Tank Dell. Yeah. Well, everybody wants their next Tyreek Hill. Is what everybody wants.
Yeah, but Tyreek Hill is also
he's so
bulky,
so different. Yeah, he is very different. But everybody wants that fast guy to take the top off the defense. Every
should
wants that, of course. But I mean,
but now it's not the biggest problem when a guy weighs 160, 170, 180.
No.
So I mean,
because that's one hit and you're
right. I like that. So I mean, we could join the NFL now.
Yeah. I mean, hey, why not?
Nothing to do with
run like a.
But I mean, do you think that the combine overall is overhyped? I mean, I feel like
don't.
They just need something to talk about.
It is, but I mean it. But the thing is too, it can rise or
It
drop.
can't, and I actually don't like that.
I don't either because I mean it should go off your game film.
Yeah,
especially
you watch them on tape, and that's what they put on film. That's why they play is to the best they can get to the NFL, not to run a 40 time or a 3-cone drill or a bench press and have a team judge you off it. Exactly, you're not even in pads.
Which I mean,
and half the guys when they run the 40 freaking pull their hamstring.
That's
and they
true
do
too. That's the big because you can get injured doing that stuff.
It's just crazy.
It can drop or help your draft stock, of course, but for the guys that aren't maybe going to do as well there that they think and don't think they're going to do as well there. I don't.
That's a way to improve it.
But like the guys that are going to be like a first top 5 pick just don't.
Which it helps the players. It helps the players improve their draft stock if they need it. But they, then you go into situations like this. The one thing that may be actually really useful that came out of the combine is Caleb Williams. How he didn't do anything.
Say something about that. Yeah.
He didn't take any medical tests or anything. But he didn't need to necessarily.
But he go though. Is the thing is he just went to talk to, which I mean,
the press.
He want to go talk to the press, but I mean you can do that anytime you want. But like I don't think he needed to go and build the drama. But the thing is he knows he's going to be number 1. We all know he's going to be number 1.
And that's why he didn't do the medical test.
Change.
Even if the medical test normally, I feel like that would hurt a player not taking that.
Oh yeah, but
it's Caleb Williams, and everybody knows he's gonna go 1 overall.
Yeah, and the thing is, I've watched his games, watched some of his tape. He is a really good player. And he definitely had his bad games against good defenses. Like last year against Notre Dame, they really exposed him big time. I think he threw 3 interceptions. I was watching that game. I was watching in real time. And I was just watching, he just was making bad mistake after and interception after interception. I think he threw 2 back to back. I think, or he threw 3. He threw 3 pretty. I don't remember exactly.
When you get into a rhythm like that, it gets in your head.
Yeah. And then he had he painted his nails F Utah and all that stuff, and then he just had little.
He's drawing attention.
He is drawing attention. It's negative attention, but also he is the number 1 prospect and the best player. I think Marvin Harrison
is the best
better prospect.
He's absolutely a better prospect.
But like I said,
he has no flaws as a receiver. Caleb Williams does have flaws as a quarterback.
He does.
But I mean, because of positional need, and importance, the quarterback will always be taken first.
Oh yeah, of course, and
even if they don't like the Bears could use Marvin Harrison way more than they could use Caleb Williams. If you build the team around Justin Fields, I feel like that would actually.
But the thing is,
that would help them.
You don't know that with Fields though, is if he's gonna be.
You don't know that, but you also don't know that about Caleb Williams. No matter how great of a prospect he seems like.
Yeah, but
you don't know that, and you already have a solid player in Justin Fields. If you just keep the team together.
He's okay.
I feel like the Bears are going to be the same team this year. They may be better in the future with Caleb Williams than they would be with Justin Fields. Yeah. But I feel like this year they're going to be the same as if they would be if they kept Justin Fields this year.
Well, I think it's also whatever they do with that 9 pick also because it's
Odunze.
I like Odunze, but they also need something along the line. But at number 9 on the line is going to be kind of. One of the better players is Olu Fashanu or Joe Alt is the better or good tackles, but I don't know if they'll still be there at 9.
But
the thing is, if you go Odunze, you're not helping that line at all. I mean,
I feel like, if they're smart, I feel like they go get a lineman in free agency.
Yeah,
and then they can get Odunze in the draft, and then you got Odunze. You got Komet and you got DJ Moore.
It's gonna end a year or 2, and I don't think they'd pick up. I mean,
and if they
keep this year, but
if they get Caleb Williams, then they build that chemistry with the receivers.
They do. That's true.
Caleb Williams and DJ Moore or Odunze or whoever it may be.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure DJ Moore came out and said he wants Fields.
He does. He does want Fields.
Of course, you're gonna. I mean, every wide receiver usually says that about their quarterbacks. And every receiver wants someone different, and it's a whole mess that we'll get to later. But, but I thought they're gonna trade it for a while, but now that we're getting closer, and it's looking more like they're gonna take Williams. But the thing is, with Fields, they're probably gonna get a second rounder out of it. I don't really know if he's worth a second rounder,
I feel like he is.
but I think they will get a second rounder. With that second rounder too, you can still get a very solid player.
Even that's what we want to talk about now is the coaching changes, which is, I mean, unless you have anything else to add,
I don't think so.
but I mean, you could start with the biggest and craziest thing of all, which in my opinion is Bill Belichick getting fired and then not even getting a job.
Well, was he even? He wasn't fired. They had a mutual.
He was
bargaining
fired.
years. But I
You
mean,
can call it
time.
mutual
Yeah.
leaving or whatever you want to call it, but he was fired. They didn't want him there. He didn't want to be there anymore.
No, I mean they're going through a whole rebuilding thing, and they're gonna pick a quarterback in this year's draft.
Patriots are getting Drake May,
but I think go Drake May or Jane Daniels possibly. I don't know the route that Gerard Mayo is gonna go with them because it's a brand new coach.
Yeah, I mean, you have heard a lot of Patriots reporters and past players say that Mayo's a lot like and similar to Belichick and how he liked to run things.
But do you want your own?
He still wants his own for sure.
You want your own philosophy as a coach and stuff like that.
If you're going to be a successful coach, you have to establish your own kind of thing. You talk about other names too, though, floating out there. Obviously, there was a lot of names that went into consideration for coaching staffs that didn't even get hired. Mike Vrabel,
that's a big one.
With the Titans.
I don't understand that one.
Out of nowhere, when they could have just waited. They could have just waited to trade him and actually get some value.
Oh yeah,
but they didn't want to wait.
Traded him for someone.
They didn't want to wait. That's crazy and baffling. And then, Belichick, I can understand that he doesn't have a job now.
Yeah.
Because of the way that he runs things. That doesn't seem like what a lot of locker rooms and teams and owners want to bring in.
Yeah. Well, everybody's more offensive minded now too.
But that's the thing that I don't understand is why wouldn't even if they're not offensive minded. I would love for Vrabel. Like if we didn't have Andy Reid, or if you didn't have Mike Tomlin, I would love Vrabel to go to either one of those. I would love Vrabel on any team.
Well, Vrabel's
he's a hard nosed guy.
Yeah, it's like a Dan Campbell kind of.
Yeah, bite your kneecaps off.
Baby. But I love Dan Campbell. But
who doesn't?
Yeah, but but one thing that we were saying was, like we were talking about ourselves was, you want that kind of like. It looks like you want that defensive-minded head coach, possibly, and then you want a very solid, very like young, new offensive coordinator.
The only problem with that is the way that the NFL is going is NFL offensive coordinators are getting recycled like nothing.
That's true.
So you have the OC job for 1 or 2 years, and if you do good with it, then other teams want you as their head coach. So all you got to do is hope and pray that OC that became the head coach isn't a good head coach, so they come back like. Nagy with the Bears was terrible, and then he came back to the Chiefs and we win a Super Bowl.
McDaniels, baby.
McDaniels terrible. He's terrible. What did he go to the Broncos first?
Chiefs head coach a long time ago.
No.
Broncos.
I think it was. He went to the Broncos. Did terrible, and then he came back to the Patriots. They won some Super Bowls, but Titans in place. In place of Vrabel.
That was weird.
They
had a bad season.
Brian Callahan, the Bengals OC, which I feel like Brian Callahan doesn't get enough attention because you got to remember he took Jake Browning, who was a career backup in what was Minnesota or something like that.
Yeah,
and he turned the Bengals into a decent team. He went on a little stretch there for a little bit.
This year, I think. Well, I mean, the whole AFC North was above 500.
Yeah, I mean. You got to give Brian Callahan some credit, but I do think overall that for the Titans that was a stupid move.
It was a weird move. It was very weird.
But maybe not because maybe they did need a change. They seemed like they were in the same kind of loop for years where they would just make the playoffs or barely miss them.
Yeah.
But maybe that was their whole thing was running the ball, and then you have Ryan Tannehill as your quarterback.
Yeah.
And now you're in this loop with Bananarama and Derrick Henry. Falcons.
Yes. Falcons.
If you played fantasy, you love this move. Arthur Smith out the door.
We'll talk about Pittsburgh for a little bit.
Out the door.
Talking about your Chiefs.
Arthur Smith going to the Steelers.
Yeah,
where Najee and
Jalen
Warren are going to run the heck out of the ball.
They are, but
all the time.
I didn't like it. I'm still not crazy about it. Of course, you can't get too ahead of yourself and whatever. You can't wait.
You like the moves of your team or you don't.
Yeah, but you want to see what's going to happen, of course. But the thing is, Steelers ran the ball fine last year. I feel like
Fine, but where did it get you?
no, they ran the ball actually really good
Where did it
at
get you?
the playoffs. I mean, I mean, without T.J. Watt, which we're like 2-11 without. So I mean, and you still were. I think we. I mean, it would have been a different game without T.J. Watt.
Are you saying you want Matt Canada back?
I'm not saying that. I was so happy at Thanksgiving when he was fired. Um, but yeah, I wasn't too enthusiastic with the move. I mean, I didn't absolutely hate it, but
The only thing you got to think about back when Arthur Smith was on the Titans.
yes, but
As the OC, he did very well. With
Mhm.
Derrick Henry, he had Ryan Tannehill, which is very similar to Kenny Pickett, and Russell Wilson, if you get him,
Yeah, I don't
skill set at
know
the
what's gonna
time.
happen there.
So, you got similar running back in Najee
Mhm.
with size-wise compared to Derrick. I mean, obviously, nobody's
No one's Derrick Henry. Yeah, but Najee is kind of like a more loose
Yeah, he's more
running, but he shouldn't be. He needs to be he needs to be a downhill.
let Jalen Warren do
But
the
Najee
opposite.
does make some good moves here and there. There are some times when you're like, Najee, just hit the hole, dang it, please. But
Second
like I
half
said,
of the
the
season.
second half of the season, every time he turns it on. And I mean, 3 straight. I know 1,000 yards isn't what it used to be, but I mean, to hit 1,000 yards still in a
I
season
feel like it is for running backs,
it's
especially.
still a good mark. 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons to start off his career, which is very, very good still. Because if you look at the running backs, the highest yard was McCaffrey. I think had 1,400 this year,
Something like that.
some yards, and I mean Derrick Henry's next.
Kyron Williams.
Yeah, Kyron Williams was there.
What a dog.
Yeah, he was good. But Najee was like 5th in rushing, I guess. But I mean, 1,000 yards is still 1,000 yards. But with Arthur Smith being hired, I thought the Steelers should have went for more of a quarterback like guru kind of guy, like to help the young quarterback. Even Mason Rudolph could still use a good quarterback if he was. I don't think he's going to be a starter this year.
I do.
But I mean, I don't know if he's leaving. Want to go for any? Mason will definitely be gone somewhere.
You think?
Yeah, he's even said that he wants to leave. I'll
Go play in the UFL.
I mean, hey, do what you want to do. I'm not saying I'm gonna give up on Kenny yet. I mean, a bunch of Steelers fans already have, but I mean, it's in a year and a half season. He played 9 games, I think, this year, not even 9 full games. I mean, he doesn't do anything crazy off the stat chart, but he does show up in the fourth quarter, which is big.
Wasn't he your previous owner's last pick? Last first
Previous GM,
Yeah.
I believe so. But I mean, there was no quarterbacks in that draft besides Pickett and Willis, and I'd rather have Pickett than Willis
and
or Ritter. But I mean,
who you can argue has been the best.
yeah. But I mean, with the offense that Ritter has, though, he should be doing even more.
Oh yeah, Ritter's terrible.
Yeah.
We're not gonna waste time on that.
No.
But we were.
But I mean, if you have a franchise like Pittsburgh, you have the weapons that you do right now with Pickens, Deontay, Freiermuth's been in and out of the lineup. You have Najee, you have Warren. You should be producing, which is showed with Rudolph that you can produce with that offense. With Russell Wilson coming though, like I said, I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not like jumping up with joy with it. I
get that.
I think with Arthur Smith, Russell Wilson would be a better fit in that offense.
I like the Arthur Smith move.
I'm not, like I said,
for the Steelers as an OC.
Not crazy about it, but
if he were a head coach, that would be terrible.
That'd be a bad idea. Which, like I said, with Russell Wilson there, you have a veteran quarterback. You don't really have to teach Russell Wilson anything. I mean, you got to teach him the offense, of course, but I mean, you can play it run heavy. Russell Wilson can play action, can move out the pocket.
He's still got the moon ball that he throws.
Yeah, beautiful. He's
perfect
for the beautiful deep ball.
Pickens.
Yeah, exactly. I like the move more if Russell Wilson comes. Actually, now that I think about it more, because Pickett still
talking yourself into it.
I'm not talking myself into it crazy. I kind of wanted Fields more than anybody else.
You're not getting Fields,
but like I said, with Fields though, you still need a quarterback guru kind of guy to develop him more. Which I don't think Arthur Smith is that quarterback development guy. I don't know, because I mean, you had Tannehill that was already a veteran in the league. He's never really had to develop a quarterback. I don't think, not as far as I know.
That's why you're getting Russell Wilson to probably help tutor Pickett.
Yeah, with Russell Wilson, you don't have to really teach him. I mean, you add a quarterback. I mean, Pittsburgh has a good shot.
They do.
They're a good team, but
But
the quarterback position is the most important in the NFL.
you're
So you
right.
need that.
You're definitely right about that. I mean, there's another job, like we just talked about, Ritter,
Mm-hmm.
who was in the same draft class as Pickett, happens to be currently on the team that Arthur Smith just left,
Mm-hmm.
the Falcons, who also just got another defensive head coach, which when was the last time that the Falcons had a defensive head coach? Can you remind me who that was,
Dan
Bryce?
Quinn.
Dan Quinn.
They went to
28-3.
Commanders.
We all know about that famous game.
Mm-hmm.
All know about it. And now we got Raheem Morris, another defensive head coach, which if you look in the past few years, not all time, because you look at Belichick, Tomlin, Vrabel, they were obviously good hires.
Mm-hmm.
But as of recent, the only good defensive coach that was hired that has been a success so far is D'Amico Ryans with the Texans,
Yeah,
who
but
he could have just had a successful season
That's what I
because
was
of
gonna say,
Bobby
yeah.
Slowick, who was another head coaching candidate
I would have loved to.
who stayed, which is great
love
for
that.
C.J. Stroud's development. I feel like
Yeah.
Bobby Slowick is going to be the next Brian Daboll, in my opinion, who I love.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, with Raheem Morris, I don't know if they got a new OC or what in Atlanta,
I don't know if
but
they did or not.
either way, it has to be better than an Arthur Smith led team
Mm-hmm.
with all those weapons. So then we talk about we're gonna move on to the Ravens. Obviously, they lose Mike McDonald, and he went over to Seattle to be the head coach there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean Carroll's gonna be an advisor there.
another defensive head coach.
Yeah.
I don't like the hire.
Yeah.
Seahawks have
interesting.
always had a solid defense. They didn't really the last few
But they got
years.
rid of Adams and Diggs too.
Yeah,
Adams was
that's
kind of
what's crazy.
declining. I don't really know how Diggs was looking, but I mean you have Devon Witherspoon over there who's really good.
He's very good.
Really, really good. I don't really know who the other other corner is and how their secondary is looking, but they'll probably draft someone.
Yeah.
It's an interesting hire.
Yeah, and then you talk about obviously the Lions keep Ben Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the two. That was the two big things for me was Texans keeping Slowick and the Lions keeping Ben Johnson. Dude, if
he could have taken a coaching job. He could have taken a head coaching
absolutely could have.
100%. But I mean, he probably if the Lions pretty much I think keep their whole offense. They're still gonna have another shot. I mean, that was who I wanted to win the Super Bowl more than anybody. I mean, if I was a Pittsburgh fan, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna be a Lions fan, but
everybody likes to root for the Lions.
Everybody wants to root for the Lions. Dan Campbell, everybody wants to root for them. So I was kind of happy to see Ben Johnson stay a little bit, just so they can kind of run it back, because they had that game in San Francisco.
And I like Goff. I feel like he's developing really well.
He's looking good. Johnson. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because they were probably going to take. I mean, if Goff doesn't have a good year, they would probably take a quarterback this year. But you keep Goff, he's doing good.
They got too many defensive needs to draft any kind of.
Yeah, if the defense isn't bad,
they're gonna draft a receiver too, though.
They should,
because they got rid of Josh Reynolds and they're not sure about Jameson Williams. I feel like.
Yeah,
I feel like Jameson Williams would be better as a third, or
he's a good.
You need him just as a take off the top.
So and he's finally healthy now.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, but I would love to see them because there's some good wide receivers in this draft class too. So yeah, I'd like to see them get someone else on offense, but the thing is too, they got to focus more defensive. And who else was on the move?
What for coaches?
Coaches, yeah.
So we got the Cowboys. They kept McCarthy.
Final year of his deal. So
it's final year of his deal. So and then they obviously lost Dan Quinn, who completely threw that game for them versus the Packers.
Yeah, that was.
But at the same time, the Packers defense was stopping them. Really,
the Packers defense played well
the whole game, anyways. So it wasn't just there. Dan
Aaron
Quinn.
Jones went crazy. But yeah, if McCarthy, like I said, I don't think. So it's make or break season for him. If they don't make a deep playoff run, he's definitely gone.
You think about the move from a year ago where the Cowboys got rid of Kellen Moore and he went to the Chargers, and then Brian Schottenheimer came from the Chargers to the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought that the Cowboys were going to run it a lot more this year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now they have
We don't have that
they've
back.
unlocked a new level of CD Lamb. I feel like. But what about the Chargers now? Because the Chargers, I as a Chiefs fan hear it every year. This is the Chargers year.
Yeah.
This is the Chargers. You all hear it too. I mean, I love Justin Herbert.
I do too. Really good quarterback.
Not a sponsor, but he's also sponsoring Dr. Squatch, and I would love to be right there with him.
Sponsor us, please.
Dr. Squatch, we are obsessed. Hit us up.
I like your
Anyways, the Chargers, they lost Kellen Moore after one season with them to the Eagles. And then they gained Greg Roman, who used to be the Ravens offensive coordinator, and then they also have Jim Harbaugh, who we talked about a little bit earlier. Both of those guys love to run the ball.
I think I think the Chargers will be. I think they'll be better. But
they'll be better, but
their defense has always been just giving up plays.
I still think they're another year out.
Yeah, Herbert needs some help out there. He's got great wide receivers to throw to.
Maybe not. Mike Williams probably going to be gone. Keenan Allen getting old.
Yeah, Keenan Allen
he's still good. He had one of his best years.
Quentin Johnson was kind of
terrible.
Had a terrible rookie year, but it's rookie year. You never know. It's going to turn it back on.
But then you go to Philly, who actually got Kellen Moore, which I thought Kellen Moore was a great hire for the Chargers last season, but apparently didn't make much of a difference.
No, but
although Justin Herbert was still hurt last
he was hurt with the season. Yeah, his finger was broken the whole year.
Eckler wasn't the same.
No, Eckler was out.
I hate to say it.
Yeah, it was a weird season for the Chargers,
but Philly getting Kellen Moore is a lot better than who they had running the offense, which was Sirianni, I believe. Even with their offense,
I don't. Yeah,
because it was Matt Patricia they had running the offense, and
that was terrible.
And then when Sirianni tried to take over, it was terrible. So the Eagles finally get Kellen Moore, and now they have Vic Fangio too.
Yeah, that's a good staff.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're not big on Sirianni.
I'm not big on Sirianni. I don't think you can be.
He has his little like tantrum moments.
Yes.
Yeah. But you shouldn't be doing as a coach. But I mean, you could even think of him and Kellen Moore butting heads on some stuff possibly.
But that could be good for them.
That's the way Sirianni is possibly. But I mean, the Eagles are still going to be good.
They're going to be decent,
but they're not going to be as dominant as they were when they went to the Super Bowl.
You want to hear something crazy?
What do you got a hot take here?
You think about that division hasn't had a repeat winner in like what was it, like 15 years or something like that? Yeah. Something crazy. And it's always been the Eagles Cowboys. Eagles Cowboys.
It's either really good or it's really terrible.
I'm telling you right now, though, watch out for the Giants. We're not going to talk much about the Giants, but I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah. I'm not making them my bold prediction yet. We will have bold prediction episodes.
Giants my big quarterback. Not picking quarterback. There might.
Nope.
Jane Daniels going to the Giants.
Nope.
I don't think he'll be there when they pick. But.
Okay. Let's stay on track. Raiders keep Antonio Pierce. That's a good move. I like not really a whole lot to talk about.
He had the players around him last year, and they were like,
he rallied them.
Yeah, he rallied them. You go from McDaniels, who couldn't rally them at all, who they like despised,
and Max Crosby was gonna lie.
I think they made him cry in the locker room or something like that. I heard or saw. And then you have Antonio Pierce who comes in and rallies them, and they play good ball. They blew out the Chargers. Like 60-something to.
Yeah, and then they put up a lot on us too.
Yeah.
And I would like to say, I mean, you see interim head coaches do good a little bit every now and then.
Yeah.
But the Raiders seem like they're stuck in this loop where they just keep hiring head coaches. They had John Gruden before he made those comments or whatever, but he did good for them. Mm-hmm. But it seems like it's the Raider way. They just get stuck in the same loop where it's just a recycling table kind of thing.
Yeah.
But overall, the Antonio Pierce, I like it for the team itself. It seems like he brings a good morale. He kept Max Crosby healthy, who's the leader of that team, no doubt. Mm-hmm. Even as a Chiefs fan who hates Raiders, I feel like a lot of people like Max Crosby.
I like. Oh yeah, he's
a very likable
dude. Good story, good dude.
Yeah.
He talks a lot of trash. He does, but
him and Mahomes go at it. That's what I like to see. That's football.
It's a fun thing, though. Yeah,
that's football.
You talk a little bit, and
if you can't talk
in his head, not going to
exactly.
It's just gonna make him mad, and he's gonna play better. But I mean, hey, But yeah, I liked Anthony Pierce staying there. The Raiders they just need a quarterback. I mean, they are a team that I could possibly move up in the draft
We'll
to
see.
get a quarterback possibly. I don't know what pick they have.
I think they're going to
exactly,
get a
but
free agent quarterback somehow. I don't know who.
I don't know. But they're the good the Las Vegas market. I think they're another team that could get McCarthy. I like him going there, or I like him going to Denver. But the thing is, I'm not huge on McCarthy, but that's a whole nother.
I'm not either. Yeah, that's a whole nother discussion. But if you keep it in division, when you talk about McCarthy, you go to the Manders, baby. The Washington Manders, who may soon go back to the old name.
Redskins.
Whichever quarterback they get, Kingsbury has shown that he's a good QB coach, I feel like. Even though him and Kyler kind of butted heads a little bit, that was more on, I feel like, Kyler with the whole Modern Warfare game.
Gaming, like a no gaming clause in his contract or something.
Which is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But Kingsbury will do good with whatever rookie quarterback they get, because they're obviously going to get a rookie.
I was looking more to that, so I've seen stuff that's saying more Jaden Daniels now, just because he's more of a playmaker and his upside's bigger, which I think they're not the same, like, not the same body style and same quarterback, but like you have Anthony Richardson and Jaden Daniels who are very big upsides. Jaden Daniels definitely had a better college career, and of course Anthony Richardson has, I guess, a higher ceiling, possibly, as you could say, just because of his physicality, how big he is, how strong his arm is. But Jaden Daniels has a big arm too, and he's fast. He's got great playmaking skills. So
Jaden Daniels to the Manders and Drake May to the Patriots.
Possibly. I don't know which one. We're gonna do a little mock draft.
Yeah, we'll do a few of those. We got a lot going on.
So we'll figure that out, because I had a little order set, and now kind of changing my mind here.
Whole other video.
So yeah,
y'all see it. Y'all will see it.
Yeah.
But then I want to briefly speak on two teams real quick. The Bears. Mm-hmm. They hire Shane Waldron. Okay. He's a really well-known name in the NFL world. I don't know a whole lot about him.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I've seen a lot of Bears fans be happy about that. So, congrats. You're getting Caleb Williams and Shane Waldron. He came from the Seahawks.
Oh, okay.
Shane Waldron, and that there was who was it? JSN. They were interviewing him live on TV, and they said they asked him what he thought about Shane Waldron and were the Bears gonna like him there, and he said, "Is this live?" So Bears fans might be happy, but doesn't seem.
We'll see. Bears fans haven't been happy in years, so
I don't know.
But the thing is, you have so many Bears fans that are conflicted with Fields and with Williams, and I mean, Williams just has that everybody already hates him mentality. Yeah. I think he'll be good. Honestly, just he's very, very talented, but he's got a really good arm, and he's mobile, which Fields is more mobile than has a better, like, I mean, it's just the plays that I watched Caleb Williams make in college was pretty crazy. He has bad games and stuff like that, but I think he'll be good. But it's hard to look past all the stuff he's kind of, the negative attention that he's attracted. But as a number one pick,
as a football player, he seems like he's gonna be good.
Yeah, but yeah, and like he wants a stake in the team, that his dad or someone said he wants a stake in the team.
I don't know how real that is.
Yeah, it's a little much. You just got to go play football and then prove yourself.
What do you think about the Bills keeping Joe Brady? I think obviously we all saw the Bills turn around their season middle of the season.
So
where we thought that they weren't going to make the playoffs, but they turned it around real quick. They looked like the hot team.
Yeah.
I think that's obviously a good move.
Yeah, it was good to keep him.
Seemed to be using James Cook a lot more with him.
Yeah, James Cook came alive this year, and he was a really big piece for them, because they could run the ball more, which they definitely needed. Keeping Allen runs the ball and doesn't slide. He's a huge man running down at you, but he does got to take care of the ball a little bit more. But yeah, I'm a big Josh Allen fan. I
am too.
And Brady definitely helped turn their season around. Yeah, I like that move.
So the Panthers, this is the last thing I want to talk about for this episode, and we'll wrap it up here. The Panthers, I wanted to save this one for the last. because I feel like this is a bigger addition than what a lot of people like to talk about, is Panthers adding Dave Canales.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't really know who that was until you kind of
Right.
talked about
So
it a little bit earlier.
So I had seen some videos before which they talked about him. He was the guy who was actually um he was the OC, I believe, in Seattle when Geno Smith had his big year, not last year but 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he got Geno Smith paid because of it. And then last year he went over to the Buccaneers, and I don't know if he was the OC or whatever. I believe he was, but he took control of that offense and made Baker good again, I guess.
Yeah.
The Baker to Mike Evans connection was something special last
It
season
was.
we saw.
But Mike Evans
Which they brought both of them back, so that's great. But now they have no Dave Canales, so I'd like to see, how Bryce Young does with Canales. If he could turn around Geno Smith, an age veteran, and he could turn around Baker Mayfield, who had a rocky start to his career. What can he do with Bryce Young, who had a very rocky start to his career so far?
Yeah, but he's so young still. You gotta give him time.
Yeah, give him time to develop. And
he doesn't have like the size. He doesn't have the size and all that stuff, of course. And he's a smaller quarterback and stuff. But he's got it very good. He had very good decision making in college. Made some great throws. Had some great game winning drives. I remember watching him. I think it was against Auburn. Yeah, it was against Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Them going down 99 yards and scoring the game-winning touchdown.
NFL's different, though.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it definitely is.
Especially with how small. Like, you don't want to talk about size a lot.
Oh yeah,
NFL, but
the guys are way bigger.
It does matter with
stronger.
Him. Yeah. He looks like a little high school kid out there.
I mean, who's he got to throw to this year? I mean, he had Adam Thielen,
Mingo's
got.
Yeah, you got to give it to him. There's not many people to throw to. You got a meddling owner and David Tepper who's spitting on fans.
I don't think you have a first round pick. Got it. Got a first round pick.
Fleeced them in that trade.
So yeah, that was big.
But yeah, I'm telling you guys, everybody, just watch out for Dave Canales and the Panthers this year. I mean, I know they don't really have a whole lot of weapons right now. They don't have a first round pick.
It's gonna take them a little while to get back into it, I think.
Watch for them to start making some progress. You'll see flashes with Bryce Young this year, I feel like.
Yeah, they got to make some moves.
Not to mention there's no line in
no line. They
Icky. He didn't turn out to be anything special.
I mean, he's still young though. He's still young. Can make some
get
progress.
Other pieces around him.
Get some good coaching. Get some good.
Bryce Young didn't have anybody to throw to, so that didn't help out the line.
Not really a running game. I mean, you had a little bit of it, but Miles Sanders isn't going to stay healthy. Chuba is inconsistent. I mean, you got to find a good running back too. But I mean, it's going to be hard. It's just hard to bring players into that market though.
Right.
With how bad, I was gonna say, I mean, it was a bad team last year.
It was a terrible team.
Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna take them a while to rebuild. I think they're not gonna be the Texans and just turn it around. I don't think.
No,
because Texans already had pieces.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they didn't, but they drafted well, and they had Nico Collins turned out to be really good last year. Schultz came over and did really good. Yeah,
but yeah, so I guess with that said, that's the episode wrapped up. What I want you guys to watch out for is keep watching out for our videos. We're going to be posting hopefully 3, maybe 4 times a week throughout the off season. And then, during the regular season, we're looking at maybe 4 or 5 episodes a week. Keep an eye out for it. A lot of football content, so we're going to get into things like obviously NFL talk, college football talk. The draft is coming up, so watch out for a lot of that.
There's still right now. There's a lot of stuff.
Fantasy football. We're big into that too. The mock drafts, sports betting.
Yeah, we're gonna get into a little bit of everything.
There's a lot of things. So just do us a favor. If you'd like to click the like button, sub, give us some love.
We're also gonna be. It's not. I don't think it's up yet. We're gonna have a Facebook, Instagram,
TikTok. We'll
YouTube.
We'll post the link in the description when we actually
get them set up.
When we get them up and set up and everything. But yeah, sub, give us some love. Do us a favor there. Add some comments. Tell us what you'd like to see if you see this. And yeah, that's about it.